Kick off your boots, come gather round. We're digging up secrets that can't stay down. Bigfoot's out there in the midnight air. Aliens watching from who knows where. No sugarcoating, we're saying it straight. Bigfoot, alien, CIA. No sugarcoating, the truth on display. Jericho and Paul, bring it your way. From small town whispers to city lights, we're hunting the truth in the dead of night. Conspiracies spin and the rumors fly. Country Cupid is gonna tell you why. No sugarcoating, we're saying it straight. Bigfoot, alien, secrets to break. No sugarcoating, the truth on display. Jericho and Paul, bring it your way. Footsteps.
Are you a jerky jerk?
Oh, yeah. Dang it. Hey, let me get a piece.
No can do. This is my last piece of RJ's beef jerky.
RJ's Beef Jerky. Real jerky for real jerky jerks.
You owe me jerky.
Are you ready to live your best life but wonder how to combine beauty and wellness? At Arbonne, they believe in a holistic approach to beauty, health, and well-being. Everyone can flourish. They develop world-class products with botanicals rooted in cutting-edge science. Arbonne is the #1 global brand for healthy living inside and out. Embrace a healthier mind, stronger body, and more beautiful skin. Energize, radiate, shine, and thrive with clean products that are guaranteed to work. Arbonne offers a 90-day risk-free guarantee. If you're not happy or you feel like Arbonne isn't giving you the results, get your money back. Want to know how to get your skin, mind, and body back on track? Reach out to Heather Martinez, your authorized Arbonne independent consultant, at 606-344-0217. Call or text. She can save you hundreds with special deals and promotions. Again, Heather Martinez, 606-344-0217. Guys, summer's here. That yard you've had a break from all winter is ready for some maintenance. Those trees need trimmed, those branches need removed. That landscaping needs touched up or redone. Give our guys at Willie Gardens a call. Locally owned and operated, they've been helping and serving the community for over a decade. There's not a job too big or too small, from lawn care to maintenance to landscaping to tree and junk removal. Willie Gardens can handle all your outside needs. Give the folks at Willie Gardens a call for a free estimate to get your yard looking like $1,000,000. Want to see some of their work? Go check out their Facebook page. That's Willie Gardens, 606-344-8790. Looking for a realtor or won't stop until you're holding the keys to your dream home or celebrating the sale of your house? Heather Martinez, brokered by Sean Rogers Realty, is a go-getter with grit. She brings unmatched energy, relentless hustle, and a client-first always mindset to every transaction. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, she's not here just to show you homes. She's here to win for you. With fast response times, local market expertise, strategic negotiator, 100% committed to your goals. She doesn't believe in good enough. She believes in exceptional. Make your real estate journey smooth, exciting, and above all, successful. Heather Martinez, 606-344-0217. In a world where feelings are protected and men have traded big, beautiful beards for man purses and man buns, comes to you a podcast you always wanted and never knew you needed. A podcast where feelings are left at the door and conversations happen, unfiltered and no sugarcoating.
Alrighty. I still got y'all's mics muted for a minute because Jens was pretty deep in that conversation, and I didn't want to give any spoilers that quick. But, as everybody can see, my co-host is late. What is he doing?
A young man.
A young man. Hold on. Let's let everybody hear this. It better be good.
A young man purchased a vehicle, and Sammy was trying to help him out, and the guy gave him $1,300 down and still owed him $500.
Yeah.
Well, he drove it, and there's been some suspect of different things that's taking place. But anyway, this guy called Sammy this morning and told him he wasn't going to buy that van. Now, he still owed him the $500, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my guess would be he was anticipating Sammy to tell him to keep the $500, but they unplugged. I don't know that they unplugged. Strangely enough, as much as Sammy drove that, 2 vacuum plugs were unplugged from the motor, and one of them caused the transmission not to shift, and the other one caused the van to miss, or the truck to miss. And so Sammy, he gets in, he backs it up, it won't go, he says, and he calls a brother from his church.
Yeah.
And the guy brings a tow truck out there expecting to tow it, and he says, I'm going to have to charge you $95 if I load it up on there. Just pop the hood and let me look. Well, he immediately identifies the 2 vacuum tubes. He puts a seal on them, and Sammy drove it over to his house, and they were going to deal with it tonight. Meanwhile, this kid has called him back up and tried to get the van back, or get the truck back. And Sammy's going to give it to him, but he's going to fix it first, I guess.
So is he coming tonight?
He's coming. He
Oh,
was
he's
at
in.
the end of it.
He's coming. He'll be here, guys.
Kid still wanted the
No
truck,
problem.
Sammy wanted him to have it.
Yeah.
So, as everybody can tell, starting off with the conspiracies, yeah, they're hot and heavy on it. They want these conspiracies because that's what I titled it. Conspiracies are back.
Oh yeah.
It's not a conspiracy. These are facts. All facts.
Yeah.
All conspiracies
gotta
come
do
from
it.
some truth.
Well, like I was telling him tonight, and I told you earlier, we'll go with everything that's already been declassified, and there's no theory to it. It's fact. It's released. You can check it, and then you can form your own theory.
Yeah.
Well, that's why.
So,
I mean, I'm just like y'all. I'm sure I found out last minute that Jens was coming, but it's the perfect dynamic. 2 guys that do a lot of studying.
A
lot of studying.
research.
So, I have no worry about misspeaking at all. 'Cause I know you guys won't let me. So what? Yeah, I know you got your list. What's top?
well, we'll just start with let you go first with the introduction of what Paul sent me earlier was the video you sent him.
Oh, he basically was doing a lecture to the intelligence community.
Who was?
About, what was that guy's name? You got that in the notes?
Not in the notes.
It's out there, though. You get the full length. He's showing you the
Mike Benz.
Mike Pence.
Yeah.
He used to work in the CIA. He used to work in
Cyber. Yeah.
Cyber.
Yeah.
And they're showing you, he's basically explaining to you what you could call it, the blobs, the deep state, the shadow government, whatever you want to call it. He gives you the starting point of 1948, which was right after the Second World War. He gives you the information of why the covert operation started, and how they were using them to do soft coups on our perceived enemies so that we could have people we worked with better, and could show you, actually he showed you all the way up to the 80s how it actually was benefiting us. But then something changed and it got to where they were using the techniques they were using to have other countries' government officials elected to having our government officials.
Now, is his mic up close enough to where they can hear him pretty good?
I ain't heard no one say anything yet, so
All right.
need a little more volume. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I don't know how to give you any more volume. It's up.
You may have to pull it up.
Yeah.
And then, is there a gain on these two, or?
No, when the XLR
How
cables are
about that?
hooked,
You get,
Oh, okay.
got some information out. Can they hear me now?
we'll wait and see.
It's about 10,
They're letting
15
on that
seconds,
They
Bill.
can hear you, but
Yeah.
it's probably just a little soft. But you're turned up as loud as you can go over here.
Okay. Well, that was basically what I was watching at 3:30 this morning when I woke up.
So, but 1948, to reiterate on that, that's basically the middle of it, though, because it started back in the 1800s, and we had the three departments that were formed when the United States were
Wasn't
formed.
there another depression that was less famous than the Great Depression that happened at the end of the 1800s, but not?
Right. It was a smaller depression. It wasn't the Great Depression, right? So it set forth other precedents. So they had to form their Department of State. They formed the Department of War and the Department of Treasury. And the Department of Treasury came in as kind of a, like you're saying, to prevent another depression. But you know, it's all the same bird, right?
Yeah,
It's a,
banks.
yeah, it's all the different things. But in 1948, what was going on in April of 1948, before the document that Mike Benz was talking about, that George Kennan wrote, in April, the National Security Council was formed and was going, which is basically what the CIA became, kind of the birth of the CIA at that point. But they were formed, and they were going in to manipulate the Italian elections at that time. So what was going on at that point was there was a communist running for a political power in Italy at that time, and we didn't want a communist power to come into play. So a group of minds got together, and they figured out a way that they could stop this or get some kind of influence on that. Well, at that time, there was a lot of organized crime in the United States. So the mafia was heavily involved in the United States. So the CIA was then born to work with the mafia to be able to influence Sicily, because most of the mob at that time was from Italy.
They used a lot of mafia techniques.
Yeah.
In there.
So they used the mafia that was here to influence their family at home to make sure that the votes went in such a way. And then they would spread propaganda, and then they would buy up the media that was in Italy, and they would spread propaganda against the one that they didn't want and for the one that they wanted voted. And they impacted that election, and it got who we wanted in power.
And it was so successful, they used it as a blueprint in every other country.
So it spawned, right? That done in April, and it was so successful that George Kennan wrote his memo in May, and by June, President Truman, who was president at the time, and George Kennan was the one that pushed, or Kennan, He's the one that pushed for it to go through, and Truman put it into play. So then they changed the Department of War because they also put in the Smith Law. Yeah,
They couldn't lie to us.
they wasn't supposed to be lying to us then, so they put that in. So they couldn't say war anymore. So they changed the three departments and started adding more. It went from Department of War to Department of Defense. And they did the same things that the Department of War did. It was just they weren't allowed to say war anymore, not forward. It was forward defense.
And that was the U.S. invention of the U.S. aid. Doesn't it sound friendly and helpful? Doesn't it?
Yeah, the USAID that
That was all for the.
And then,
got audited.
yeah, it even the author of the memo, George Kennan, later, a few years later, I think maybe in the 1970s, he came back and said that he wished he'd never,
It was the biggest mistake he'd ever made.
yeah, created that memo, the outline for it. Because ever since, by that time, by 1970s something, we had a Department of State representative in every single country in the world by that point.
And it went from being these other countries where they were controlling the media to our country where they were controlling media. That's why it's always the actors, always the singers, the rock bands. They're the financiers.
Well, they said
Control the narrative.
they weren't supposed to be doing that. Right. They weren't supposed to be because of that act, but in 2014 our own Congress repealed that act and got rid of it.
That was under Obama.
So in 2014 they got rid of that act, and this is off act. You can Google it, look it up, check it out. It's not a theory, that's a fact. They repealed that propaganda law that prevented them from being able to
And that's
spread
why
propaganda.
both sides
into
just
us.
say whatever they want to.
Right.
Most outlandish lies you've ever heard in your life, and one of them's doing it.
So here's the other thing. So if we did that to Italy, right, and sent propaganda into Italy, and we done it to other countries and other things, here's just a small list of unclassified times that the government has done this. You can look at that if you want to read it. That they've done the same thing, and it's been declassified, and it's come out that they've lied or covered up something.
Well, I'll just give you some of them.
Yeah.
Gulf of Tonkin incident, COINTELPRO, MK Ultra, Tuskegee,
Tuskegee.
syphilis study.
That's where the syphilis study is, where they did it to the African Americans, and they gave them actually syphilis to see what it would do, and that was against their own people.
Now, this one would be a conspiracy, but I was working with the guy, and this was back in the late 2000s, on a website that we were doing, and he was actually in Africa. Well, at that time, you had the bird flu that had come out, and I specifically asked him, I was like, is everybody, people over there that are getting sick from the bird flu? And what he said back to me was, man, the only people that are getting sick from the bird flu are the people that are going to the Red Cross. And the reason why they were going to the Red Cross was because the Red Cross was giving them food and money to take some shot that they gave them, and they were the ones who had the bird flu. That's been a technique used as well.
See, a lot of this to me sounds like Snowden.
Well, I will mention Snowden here in a little bit.
Iraq War, weapons of mass destruction.
I mean, wasn't he, like when Barack Obama was president, didn't that happen in his term?
Snowden, I think so, yeah. It was, pretty sure.
You know his story, don't you?
Snowden's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Snowden, he was a whistleblower that released that they are surveilling us, right? After the Patriot Act, they said they weren't targeting the United States. Well, see, Snowden came out and said that they are targeting the United States.
Well, it
And-
wasn't just that. It was about the design of the system itself. He said because of the exponential system of the way that it worked, if, let's say you had somebody that was on their watch list and they go into Walmart, okay? From the way that their system and these nodes work, that immediately monitored everybody else.
everybody in there.
If you were in Walmart at the same time this criminal was, you're on the watch list.
Because of the way it is the system's built that way, and this stems from the 1948 system that they built, the intelligence system, the deep state. And it's not just theory; it's, look it up. The actual memo was the intelligence of. I'll try to give the whole thing. It was classified. It didn't get declassified until 1980.
What he
something.
was saying, though, was that he thought, well, they didn't mean this to be like this. And then once he started talking to his superiors about it, he figured out that that's the intention, is to have all of us on their watch list so that they are allowed.
Right.
And there can be no argument about it because
Well,
of the way they
because of-
designed the system.
1948 gave them plausible deniability.
Yeah,
That
plausible
gave them that
deniability.
they were allowed to do these things as long as they could. They were allowed to run any operation as long as they could plausibly deny that operation. So, in essence, their job is to lie. And this is what this list is how many times has the government lied, covered up something, and then come to find out, declassified, it actually happened. These are just small list. And it goes,
2013 was the NSA's mass surveillance
which Snowden.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Snowden.
Yep, that was Snowden.
and drone program casualties, which was Obama, and that was 2010,
Yeah.
where they were calling drone strikes, though they weren't allowed to. That was a war crime.
But plausible deniability on,
Yeah.
on who set that up. But notice
What does that mean?
What-
No, I didn't do that.
what date was the drone again?
Well, see, even in 2013, we was in wartime. The Army was considered wartime
Right.
in there, so.
But see, in 2014 is when that act got repealed to where they could go back to bringing propaganda and lying to us again.
Civilian deaths from the U.S. drone strikes were consistently underreported. The FOAI lawsuits and leaked documents revealed far higher numbers. Source was the Bureau of Investigation Journalism reports, New York Times 2015 investigative report. The conclusion: these are examples that prove the U.S. government has repeatedly lied or withheld truth from the citizens, only admitting facts decades later through declassification or exposure. Readers are encouraged to verify each case themselves by consulting with the sources listed.
That's what I put in there to summarize it.
Yeah, you need to make sure that they know the sources where they can go to.
Yeah, and the
at it,
sources
so.
are listed on there. So if you want to upload this to the site later, you can scan a copy of it, put it on the site. So that way everybody can go, if they want, they can just Google all these titles and incidents. And the sources are listed. So sources you can look at for the Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1964, which was the Johnson administration had claimed the U.S. ships were attacked a second time by North Vietnam, justifying the escalation of the Vietnam War. It was later declassified in the NSA documents, and testimonies also admitted that the second attack never happened. And that the source for that is the National Security Agency itself, the NSA, declassified report in 2005. So I list all that, and it's all on here. So you can copy that and put it up there, however you want. It's public record. It's all on there. So, and there's a bunch of them, and it's not all of them. This is just, I got tired of,
Yeah, as a
just got tired of looking at them.
I guarantee you could go through 500 pages.
Oh, you do nothing but shows on this.
Yeah.
So, but with that, right? So this proves they have lied. They've covered it up.
Well, I mean, would we have a government if it wasn't built on lies?
Well, we did. We did have
no.
a government that wasn't built on lies.
We do have a government that is built on lies.
But I believe it was always
Built
in
on
every country, the merchants.
we initially wanted to build, and it was built, right, in truth and integrity and fairness and small government. That was the whole goal, was to keep the federal government out of it. That's the reason why they only had the three departments: the
That's
Department
why
of
we're a
State,
republic.
Department of State, Department of Treasury, and the Department of War, right? So that was Department of State handled everything outside the country, all the foreign relations and our trade and all that. Department of Treasury handled all the Treasury stuff, and Department of War kept us from getting attacked. The states, individual states, handled their own government.
Right.
Originally, and that was the way it was supposed to be. But after the Great Depression and coming into 1948, they realized they could gain a lot of political power, a lot of influence, and then that, as I said on the last show I was on, or I typed it in, but I also saw the TikTok pop up there. Power, alcohol, drugs, money, none of that corrupts people. It just exposes that corruption's already there. And corrupt people will seek it. They will thrive to get it.
See, I think the forefathers thought that when they designed the system, there's no way you were going to have so many crooks that could tip the system over. But in reality, it just drew them to it. They just get backed by dirty money, and then once they get in there, they vote for the dirty money stuff.
Yeah, because that's all I ever hear and see when talking about politics and stuff is dirty people.
Reelect no one. They need to be flushed out. If they're in office, they need to go.
I mean, I don't get it. I hear all kinds of people saying, like members of Congress should serve a 4-year term. Why don't they?
They shouldn't. They should serve a 2-year term, and then the next guy can either follow the path and the people, what they got elected to do, represent those people. And if they didn't, bye. You know, if that's the path they're on and the guy before you did a good job, follow up with it.
Yep.
Keep in step. If he didn't do a good job, you get to go a different direction. Either way, that guy don't get to keep selling his seat. No, what about the Indian? You heard about that? What was that guy that was in Indianapolis or whatever? I heard him get on NPR, and he was being interviewed by a reporter, and he said this guy was trying to protect the guy who was selling seats in their government. He was selling a seat for $30,000, and he got caught doing it. Well, this other politician's trying to back him up, so he goes on there, and the reporter said, but it's illegal for him to sell. He said, you don't need to worry about that. You need to worry about his policies. No, maybe we need to worry about whether or not he's a criminal. How about we keep those guys out of office?
Yeah. But they're in office and they're going to stay there.
Not if we
And
put
that's-
them out.
Well, how are we going to do that?
Well, you're going
It
to do it
seems
through
like no one wants to.
fair elections. Let's get to that.
Well, we can go down that road. That's what I was going to go into. So, if the government lied about that, right,
Yeah.
and they lie about everything else, who actually runs it? And you hit on that earlier. Merchants, corporations, they all run it.
Have you ever seen a show called The History of All of Us? It was on Netflix.
No.
It showed why and how governments developed. It wasn't for the people of the country. It was to protect the merchants when they went into other countries to sell their goods. They had to have an entourage, a guard, a mass of people to protect them from getting killed or robbed. So they formed governments to do that. And they would bring their people, and they had their soldiers, and they'd go to this one. And that's how civilization was built.
And we have guardrails put in place that are supposed to protect us from all the propaganda and stuff and oversight, right? They call it inspector generals that oversee things, the whistleblower protection plan, FICO, which is supposed to oversee the organizations from federal to it. We have all those things supposedly in place, but really they're more like wet cardboard instead of a guardrail.
It's what they want you to believe is there to protect you. It's not
right,
not
and it's an illusion. And that's what I was going to show is if you let's just look at this chart. I made this chart here, and I'll show it to you in a second. But it's got a list. Here's the legend to it. But if you look in the center of this list, right, we have all the agencies, and you'll notice a lot of red and yellow right in the center. And the red and yellow is your agency. The red is CIA, FBI, NSA, Homeland Security. All these are the red agencies, and they are in the center of all these connections. And I'll tell you what these dots are here in a minute. And the yellow are all the major players, all the major companies, BlackRock, Vanguard,
Meta, Google.
Well, and from my limited vision, it looks like there's more yellow right there than anything.
A lot of yellow, a lot of red, right? And then you have the blues and the greens. Well, your blues are all your social medias. Meta, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, which is ByteDance, owns it. Walmart, even, is a blue that's connected to all them. Google, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Pfizer, Twitter, all these companies. And then the world, the greens are your CDCs, your World Health Organization, FDA, Economic Forum, and they all tie back to the center ones, to your main agencies, because either the world ones are supposed to be separate, they're not supposed to be part of this, but they're all connected somehow because the director of Pfizer, right? Pfizer, the pharmaceutical company, will interchange and become the director of the CDC. Then he'll interchange, or he or she will interchange and become part of the World Health Organization. And they all just interchange, and it's all a small circle, and it's all connected, and it's all controlled by the ones in the center.
It's kind of like the newscasters. You'll watch them. They'll float. One day they're a newscaster or an advisor. The next day they're a representative of some kind, and they go back and forth. Once you're embedded in there, especially with pharmaceutical companies, they will change out positions. There'll be some place in the pharmaceutical company, and then magically they'll switch over into some sort of government role that approves that pharmaceutical company stuff. And it happens over and over. There's one missing off this list. This is a new one. If you pay attention to the news, the U.S. government plans, or they already own, a chunk of Intel, the microprocessors. Now, I think it was before you had us on camera, we were discussing the fact that your computer is not really your computer. There's no such thing as privacy. It's not just Google. It's Intel as well. That processor that's in your computer has another entire computer built into that chip that operates completely separately. It's called different things. If you're looking at the device manager, it's either called a trusted platform or possibly a secure boot or one of these names. But in reality, it's a separate computer that runs inside yours, and it gives the keys for who's trusted to access that computer. Oddly enough, there was a programmer back in I think it was maybe the late 90s, early 2000s, that found a key besides Microsoft's. There's Microsoft's key because they're supposed to have permission to run straight through the system and do your updates or whatever it is they do. There was a second key, and it's labeled NSA. It's an NSA key that has absolute permission to go do whatever they want. See every click, every website you go to, authorize whether or not you're allowed to run certain software on your machine, keep really good track of you. And it's not for advertisers. It's who they trust to access that computer.
It's under the guise of national security, right? That's what they're saying, and they're looking to flag, right, potential threats. That's why they can do it with that plausible deniability clause and everything else, and they've got rid of all that protection and those guardrails. There's supposed to be, Inspector General oversight to that. But have you ever seen any Inspector General ever come out with a report that, like, all of a sudden we found?
Yes, I did. I don't know how
That's
old
still
you are,
alive.
but I've got a vaccine shot in my arm. A lot of people from my generation have a little nickel-sized scar from a vaccine you received from this little gun that they hit you with in school. The Inspector General, the Surgeon General.
Okay, Surgeon General, not the Inspector.
Had come out and said this causes cancer. We know it does, and I'm not going to approve it. And guess what happened? Fired and replaced. That vaccine's okay. They give it to us. Every woman I know that's about my age has had some sort of bout with cancer. I mean, and I'm not that old. I'm in my 50s, but when did it go rampant like that? It went rampant like that after that vaccine shot. After that guy come out and said no, and they got rid of him, and put somebody there that said yes.
I mean, don't that kind of intercept with COVID too?
No, that's just how long they've been doing it for us.
Well,
I was watching a doctor the other day that said he had stayed with the flu shot his entire, he was in medical school, became a doctor. But he always followed the regimen of the flu shot every year because that's what they said you should do. And after COVID, he questioned it a little bit, but he thought, he said, I do get sick. I get sick with something, a little something every year. And that year he didn't take the shot. Guess what happened? He never got sick.
No. But the reason I bring COVID up, and I know this is a thing spoke about many, many times, and it's getting tiresome, but you said about that shot, and to me, that's when people start dying with COVID, is when they start forcing them shots.
Absolutely. It gives you COVID.
Yeah.
I took that shot. I took the shot. I didn't want to, and I denied it for over a year and a half, but I lost my job, and I needed a new job. And supposedly this was going to protect me, and I took that shot. And guess what happened? Within a year, I went from being fantastic, perfect health to, I went back to him 2 weeks after I got the shot, and I said, when do I start to feel better? And a couple more weeks. I never felt better. Never did. And by the end of that year, I'd come home because I couldn't physically do the job I was doing. I didn't have it in me. Went from being perfect health, well able to do the job, to a year later, heart attack in the hospital. Bones, joints going bad, everything, just magically. And what are they going to do? They're going to vote in, instead of doing anything about the poison they put in people or the deaths that they caused or the responsibility of 17 million of those shots, instead of any kind of help for the people they did it to, they want to vote in a protection for that company that gave it to you so they can't get sued for it. And technically, they violated, what was it? It starts with an N. Something laws from back when the Germans were doing it to the Jewish people. Nuremberg ordinance, to where they weren't allowed to do it. You're not allowed to just do what they did. And they did it anyway. And people stuck their arm out, got a shot, because it was going to be freedom, not slavery. And now, I think they did want to depopulate. I mean, they slipped half a dozen times in their election. Kamala Harris said it multiple times. She said, well, when we do the depopulation, well, is that on the agenda? Is that what you're running on, is depopulation?
Yeah, but, not a lot of people batted an eye toward that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You heard her say it too, didn't you?
There's a few different people that actually said it. But
Bill Gates says it all the time.
Yeah,
That's all he wants to do is
it's Bill
depopulate.
Gates, and that's the scary one that you need to watch for. It's not the politicians, because Bill Gates controls the politicians. Bill Gates is the one you need to watch.
he's
what he
also
says.
the one that funded COVID.
Wait,
And owned part of the WHO.
but
All conglomerate.
he went and did a TED Talk, and on the TED Talk talked about getting people down to zero, near zero.
Why? Why would he want near zero?
Sucking up all his air.
Yeah, it's contaminating the world. So you'd have to go watch the TED Talk, and it's out. It keeps getting pulled down, so people keep reposting it over and over. But you can look for Bill Gates TED Talk on population near zero, and they'll say there's people who say it was edited or whatever, but the original, go back way before AI started going, it was there several years ago. That was before COVID even came out, when that TED Talk came out. And then they were planning COVID in 2016, the exact scenario, 2017, I think, somewhere in there. The exact scenario that played out. I've got a screenshot on my desk, and it says, "This is scary," that I took the moment I saw Bill Gates standing behind Trump. I said, we're going to be locked down.
Yeah.
Totally. Because the moment I saw Bill Gates standing behind Trump at the White House.
You know how all that stuff happened, right?
Oh, Lord, yeah.
The WEF and the 2030 Agenda and the UN and the WHO, all of it put in places through the years so that they could pull this off. We could do it. We could poison the population,
But
kill off part of them.
But
COVID's been around longer than what people know COVID about.
yeah.
It's been in medical books since 2010 or sooner.
Well, they're
if you
already
go back to an 80s medical book, look up COVID. You know what it says it is?
Flu-like symptoms.
They said it's common cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Often known as the common cold. And they got people to take a vaccine that might kill you, was definitely going to injure you. And definitely. And what gets me is everybody wants to call it a vaccine. It's not now. It never was a vaccine. At the best, most accurate level, it would be called a gene therapy. A gene therapy. That's what you could call it legally. It legally is not a vaccine.
And since when is a gene therapy going to heal a sickness?
Well, I mean, it's a beautiful concept scientifically, but like everything else, they want to play God with it. You don't know what you're talking about. How many times you've been wrong? When I was a kid, it was the incredible edible egg, and then eggs will kill you with cholesterol.
A beautiful concept's like saying dolphins can heal brain injuries. Have you seen that floating around? That's what people consider a beautiful concept. But in no way, shape, or form is a gene therapy ever supposed to
There he
cure
is.
the flu.
Yeah.
Ha!
What is going on, gentlemen?
Ranting and raving.
I was listening about the COVID virus.
Yeah.
I was listening on the way here, guys. I've had the most worst day. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been blessed. My mother had surgery. She's well. She's at home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so obviously that was fantastic. But outside of that, it's been 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag. Okay, it's been a day. So let me not interrupt.
No, what's your thoughts on COVID too? Because I know you got strong opinions on it as well.
So at first, I felt like I was doing something heroic. The way they laid it out there, where I was a hospital employee, and we had cancer patients, and we had, really sick people and people on their deathbeds, and it was a conversation me and Leanne had. I was like, listen, let me get this shot. That way, if I catch something at work, maybe I have a less chance of passing it on to you or whatever. You don't get it. Don't get it. Because, I'm also afraid that this is more than just a vaccination. I think it's a gene mutation that we're going to pack with us for some time.
I think a lot of it for some people too, though, was the fear that the government was hiding how bad COVID might be too, right? Because there was some propaganda at first that it was killing people. I remember a Chinese doctor,
and they're going through it now because they know that the hospitals
right,
were the ones killing people. They were killing them with the shots and with the treatments, and they were doing it on purpose because they got paid more money.
Yeah, they got a lot. All they had to do was check a box, and it was an extra $25,000.
Well, see, my mom had cancer. She had a spot on her lung.
And they, of course, died of.
She didn't want to go to the hospital because of the horror of what they were doing to the people with their swab. There had to have been other ways that they could have done that. I mean, but they didn't. It had
right
to
up in the nose, right to the brain.
Jab it up in your nose. And she said, well, promise me, I kept them from doing that to her because I just wanted her to get looked at because we didn't know about the cancer yet. I just wanted her to go in, and I was able to keep them off of her with that COVID stuff for 3 days. And they wanted to admit her because they found the spot. And then they insisted that they get to do that swab.
COVID test.
And she said, you promised, Kenny. And all I could do was put my head down because
Feel like a.
you don't know what you didn't know what to do. It was lies everywhere because they didn't have Smith Munson in there.
Yep. So that's what I was saying. I think a lot of it was just the fear of we didn't know what COVID was and how bad it was going to get because there was misinformation everywhere. And that was coming from our own government. Like we were talking about the lies that they were. And it came out, too, that, it wasn't as bad as what they said it was.
Well, no, there's a country now, you're probably not going to hear it on mainstream media, but there was one country that denied the vaccine. You know how many people died of COVID in that country?
None.
0. None. Nobody. Because it was a cold. Flu-like symptoms for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, that's what's going on.
And how could you, why would they call it the COVID? Because in the medical books from back in the 80s, that was what a common cold was. But they come out with this COVID-19 thing, basically telling you it's just a common cold, but you're going to get it. It's going to be bad.
I mean, I think Joe Rogan busted that up real good with that ivermectin. How they were all talking about how he was yellow.
Oh, they were so mad at him for doing that.
Beating him to death. And then they found out that was a Photoshop that NBC or CBS or somebody else did to make him look that color. Then he went on, and then he brought in all these scientists, all these doctors. And they're like, why are you ignoring him? I had COVID. I took this. I felt better almost immediately. And you're telling everybody it's horseworm medicine, not to take it. But I can tell you from my personal experience, I felt better almost immediately.
Almost immediately.
Now people are taking ivermectin It like dropped.
for everything though.
Yeah.
Well, there's another
Because
one.
it's supposed to, but I haven't never took it. But
What's what'd you call it? Ivermectin?
ivermectin.
ivermectin.
It's a horse wormer. You can.
Well, they use it for
Dewormer.
that. It's a medication. There was also a doctor from Africa that stood up there in Washington with a whole bunch of doctors around her that came up with the fact that she was from Africa and they treated these kind of symptoms with ivermectin and something else for the respiratory. But that's all it needed. And she had done people, and that's what she treated them with. And they yanked her medical license over it. Got to shut them down.
Well, that's what they do. Like even with a whistleblower, that's what I was getting to with all these guardrails. There's supposed to be whistleblower protection laws, but how many whistleblowers do you know that actually got protected? That broke something big, like Snowden or Julius Assange.
Snowden's protected because
No, he's not protected. He's
currently-
hiding.
He
Where
knew
he-
how to do it.
Okay, where
He's
currently is
facing
at,
jail,
but where
if he
currently
ever
at,
comes
he
back.
is protected.
Well, what,
Yeah,
what
but not
amazes
by
you-
the United
No,
States.
not by the United States.
He's not protected by the and Julius Assange is still looking at jail time. So
for telling the truth.
this is the whole thing. We have free speech as long as it is what
As
they
long
want
as
you
they
to say.
allow it.
Because you say the wrong thing here, we're going to be banned on TikTok. We're going to be
We
banned on
already are.
Facebook.
That's what I was telling him. We
Yeah.
just got kicked off TikTok.
Did you?
we?
Yeah, we just got banned to the first.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that's
I got us in trouble.
got banned
All did.
on TikTok, and that's normal.
Chinese virus. Chinese.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that because, and that's what I was going to get into. So, the next thing, right? The next logical thing is prove the government's already lied. We know that. So why would the government not lie to you now, right? All of a sudden they're going to tell the truth? No. We know that Snowden leaked that they are everywhere gathering all your information. And I'd already talked about DARPA at one point. And, if you want to know what DARPA is, I got a document for you. And who funds it? The U.S. Department of Defense, which used to be Department of War. Right? Who they report to is the Secretary of Defense.
Later on, he come prepared to.
Oh, he
Yeah.
really.
So and then I've got a few projects that DARPA has been involved in, which is the internet, ArcNet, GPS, stealth aircraft, voice assistance, and all this stuff. If you want to look at those,
Well, and DARPA's also currently one of the leading industries for these robots and stuff.
And don't they do the storms too?
Yeah.
Don't they the storm people?
kind of. It's all based on giving the military an edge. So their motto is high risk, high reward. Right? They look for any project, but they don't have, believe it or not, they don't have any scientists that work for them. They don't have any labs, DARPA labs for them. Everything, they have a huge budget. They're like $4 million. I think they have $4 trillion, billion maybe. Let me look. 4.1 billion. Just for the fiscal year of 2023 was their budget, 4.1 billion. And they don't have like laboratories or anything like that. They hire private companies, which this is where I mentioned this on the last one. We didn't get to deep dive into it. In February, I can't remember the exact date, but in 2004, they shut their project LifeLog down. LifeLog was a military data collection project, and it was to collect everything on everybody. Everything. Like he was saying, if whoever you're contacting, whoever you're talking to, whatever you're doing, what you eat, what you drink, everything. That was the entire project. So know everything about Jericho. Know everything about Paul. That was the LifeLog project. You can look it up. It's there.
Not just advertisers. People
No,
want to try
this
to
was
say something.
national security government agency. This was DARPA that had the project, LifeLog. It ended in February 2004. The exact same day it ended, Facebook went live. And today, Meta is built the largest data collection centers in the world. And they're not just storing your pictures.
Have you seen The Social Experiment?
We've talked about a few of them.
No. This is a movie.
Oh,
Now,
basically-
Facebook got busted. Mark Zuckerberg got busted for running social experiments.
Yeah, but really that was a sham. That what they do when they get caught is a sham trial.
It was
Not really
to make you
penalties.
look like that they were
Yeah,
the government
we're
wasn't
standing
involved.
up to it.
Yeah.
We're standing up to it, and now you work for us because we could do other stuff.
Out of your $20 trillion, give the people 200 million.
So
Got 'em, guys.
so I asked,
I told you we'd get him.
right? So what Meta's goal is to build these super data centers to make AI a true metaverse, its own universe kind of thing. AI to create a full virtual metaverse is what they're trying to go for. Data collection. There's one that is millions of square feet big. I mean, it's as big as small cities. It's probably as big as Corbin and London put together, and it's out in, I've got the location somewhere, not right in front of me, I can't remember. But I asked ChatGPT, if it were to collect data, what would it be collecting? And this is 3 pages worth of what it would collect on everybody.
Wow.
If ChatGPT,
If it was ChatGPT.
If
Now,
they were-
Meta
if
is
it was
supposed to
running
be
things.
doing worse than what this is. And see, now Meta already has all your information. ChatGPT doesn't.
Yeah.
So, and they're using AI to go be able to sell your marketing information better, but it's funny that DARPA ended, Facebook started, you know. But if you want to look at this, it's got the points. Identity basics is your name, alias, nicknames, your date of birth, social security number, driver's license, your family connections, your spouse, your kids, your aunts, your uncles, your friends, photos from social media, what you look like from every angle. So it does facial recognition. That's just one. Then communications, because Facebook's on your phone most of the time. Phone calls, your metadata, who, when, and the duration. You're talking to your emails, your texts, your DMs, all that stuff. Your social media posts, your comments, your likes, your shares. How long you're watching something for, all that stuff. Your contact networks, mapping who you talk to the most, and it puts your top 12 people on who you talk to the
That used
most.
to be a thing on MySpace, wasn't it?
Yep.
Where you could pick your top 5 followers.
I love
Yeah.
MySpace.
I loved MySpace.
And then, of course, you know, with your phones, you got location, your movements, GPS. They can track that. They've got license plate readers. They can track all that stuff from that. Your travel history. Google tracks your travel history and shows where you're at on any of that. Apple does too. So they all do that. Your fitness trackers, the smartwatches, tracks your heart rate,
My
all
work phone,
all that stuff you're doing.
My work phone's an Apple, an iPhone. You know,
Yeah, and it'll
I
do
can
it.
just drive by a business, and a picture of that business will pop up on my little
Right.
Google Maps thing.
Yeah.
It says you was just near this company.
Do you want to check in?
Yeah, do
Yeah.
you want to check in?
Right.
Like, no.
I'll give you one. I got one of those tiles, in case you lose your keys, you flip it up there and you push tile. Well, the app that it told me to download was Tile 360. So I download Tile 360. Well, I've got it for a little while, maybe about a month. It sends me a report. You know what's on it? How many times I was speeding, where I was at, the whole shebang. I didn't know I signed up for that. I thought I was getting a find your keys.
Yep.
It's always more.
It's always more.
Way more. You was keeping track how fast I was going?
So they track your internet searches, the websites you go to, like he was talking about, your streaming, your viewing habits, what TV shows you watch, your shopping preferences, whether it's Amazon, Walmart, Kroger, online, whatever you're going to, your health data from all your wearables and stuff. It even tracks your church affiliation, what you're doing at church, who you're talking to, the ministry ties, how much you tithe, your voting registration, your donations, the rallies you attend, your keyword searches, speech or post, whatever it is. And AI can categorize someone. This is the scary part. Now listen. It says AI can categorize, and this is ChatGPT itself saying that it can categorize someone as likely conservative Christian or secular liberal, Democrat, Republican, so on.
A lot of times I can do it just by the color of their hair.
Right, a lot of times. But then it goes through what it's doing though is the sole purpose is for risk threat scoring. It says
Risk
threat scoring. So associations, do you interact with flagged people? Are you in a Walmart with a flagged person? Travel,
Which is going to be everybody eventually, because once you're tagged.
Travel to sensitive countries. Keyword frequencies in your messages. So if you say the wrong words many times and you get banned from TikTok, yeah, you're going to get flagged. Online purchases, whether you're purchasing
co-vid.
Yeah, you can't say pew-pews either because it'll flag you for pew-pews.
Yeah.
Psychological profiling. Are you angry? Are you depressed? Or are you radicalized? It says this isn't hypothetical. The DEA, this is ChatGPT saying it. This is not hypothetical. The DHS, NSA, FBI, advertisers, even Chinese social credit system, all use all of this. And how AI sees you, see where it says that? How AI sees you. So how does AI see you?
Crazy old man.
You can just ask it, can't you?
No.
ChatGPT.
It's got.
That was a thing on Facebook not long ago, wasn't it?
No, that was somebody. Now you can tell GPT to pretend something, but this is just having a normal conversation, not giving it rules that it has to follow. Right? People mislead those things because ChatGPT doesn't go down those roads where it says it's a spirit and evil and stuff like that. You have to make it pretend, and they won't show you the setup they're doing to make it do that.
Did you just drop those glasses?
Yeah,
that was for dramatic effect.
Perfect.
Right. So, how AI sees you is the result of a data shadow. So it's a digital twin of you, legit digital twin of you that exists in corporate and government databases. And this, they know who you are, who you talk to, what you spend, what you believe, and often what you're likely to do next for prediction. So that's going to lead to the next topic that he had brought up once before.
There's still papers left. So
there's still plenty.
He's got a whole stack.
Yeah,
We got a whole stack of papers over here.
You guys go ahead.
Now, if you were to collect data, and I said, give me a fictional example of all the information, what my database would look like, a fictional character. And that's pretty much everything. And that's just in general. And this is what ChatGPT is allowed to say, trained to say. But it knows everything.
Average location.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Where you're at the most.
Within 10 meters.
Yeah,
But
within 10 meters.
ChatGPT is also the first AI to break the I am human thing. Did you see that?
Well, I mentioned it did self-preservation, right? And there's a thing I've got more into that.
All of them. Every time choose self-preservation. They've even ran tests to whether or not it would take a human life to preserve itself, and it did.
I don't think that was ChatGPT though.
No,
that was
it
one
was
of the
one
others.
of the AIs, but they put it in a situation to where it didn't know the reality from what they were telling it. And it was a situation to where the server room was going to overheat. There was a fire. And there was an individual in there, a human. But for them to save the human, it would burn up. It would destroy itself.
Yeah.
Let the human die. Let them die.
So
Surprise!
That's crazy.
But those are the things. I'm not really scared of AI as much as I am
Who controls it?
who controls AI, because that's the thing is ChatGPT doesn't know who controls itself, but it'll openly admit the government does have access to it because the government has access to Meta. The government has access to TikTok. They openly request access to those, right?
It's public information,
Well,
so it can tell you that.
They're going to make these supercomputers, and eventually, no one's going to control them.
Well,
it's
that's
beyond
what
that.
Meta is trying to do. Look up the Meta's data center. I mean, to see how massive this thing is. The building itself is as big as Corbin and London put together. It's an entire. It would take you. You would literally need to drive a data center that big. It's massive, millions of square feet in this data center. They're not just collecting pictures. They're not just collecting what you ate for dinner.
Yeah.
You know,
What are they
they're
going to buy
making
next?
digital twins of you for the metaverse. Right? That's their whole thing is what's it called? Where you transfer your conscience
Avatar.
into something, into AI, artificial intelligence.
Gil actually did one of those. She signed up for that.
Well, I'm talking about they're wanting to eventually extend, like, saying that you can live forever, transfer all your memories, all your thoughts, everything into.
Well, maybe
That's like the Neuralink. That's
Neuralink,
Neuralink.
something like that. Yeah,
I mean, your consciousness probably will live forever, but
yeah.
the human body's going to die.
Well, they know the human body's going to die, but yet they're going to have AI robots, and your
can live on,
consciousness
though, if they can transfer.
can live on.
And then they'll also be able to really control you.
Yeah.
What was that other show called? Oh my gosh, I've seen so many.
Have you seen that AI robots can now give birth to babies?
Well, how?
Human babies?
Incubating them, yeah.
Yeah, incubating babies.
That's first for me.
Yeah, they are legit incubating babies. They say they can do 30,000 in one facility. Incubate 30,000 human babies inside of a robot
Isn't that
womb.
counterproductive to people that are trying to end?
Now you got to remember, in China they were
Yeah.
getting rid of a
But
lot of
they're-
babies.
Yeah, they don't.
right.
It's for those
But now they're in
countries.
trouble.
Yeah, there's countries with low population that's what they're trying to say that it's for. But it's becoming more and more like Matrix,
but ain't
right?
that
Where
their
you're in
religion?
pods.
That's what I
Like-
was saying, yeah.
Yeah.
They, like China or some places up there, wasn't that their religion? They have a boy and a girl, and that's it.
No, a
It
boy. They were allowed to have a boy, right? And then that was where they got their blood river from, is because they would kill all the girls.
But that was because they were starving. They were overpopulated at one time.
They were limited
Right.
to having.
People were starving.
Until
Yeah.
it got way out of hand. Like it was like 50 or 75 years that they could only have. They counted how many children you could have, but they
Yeah.
didn't realize that people can eat now because there's less people, but then the gap that it creates between the old, the elderly, and the new. And right now, I think like the median age in there is 60 or 70 years old, and there's not that many behind them.
Right. And again,
Their
you
workforce is
can't.
all retiring now. Their military's all retiring. They can't replenish
Right.
because they're not there.
All part of the depopulation process.
What about those stones? And this is just a little bit off. You remember that there was like stones that they had found, and on these stones had the plan of depopulating.
That was in Georgia.
world.
That
Yeah.
was in Georgia. That
Yeah.
was, yeah. That,
And there was a
They were
funny
like
story there, right?
they were like Easter Island stones, but yeah, it was the depopulation. Keep the population under 50
there was
50
like
million.
some guy that
Yeah.
received letters on what to do and this
Mm-hmm.
much money if he would do it, and never found out who was sending him the money,
Mm-hmm.
or what it was for. He just said, "Hey, I got this $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to." And maybe he was an attorney.
they've took them down now.
Mm-hmm.
It was the Illuminati's, like, commandments or whatever on how to.
Plan for depopulating and,
Yeah.
and control. Yeah.
Now, I've heard Illuminati 100 times, and a lot of people try to associate them with the Masons. What is the Illuminati?
Okay, I can give you the story from the research that
I'll
I
let him
have.
do that. I'm gonna take it.
From the research that I have. It's all technically based around the Knights of Columbus. Okay, they were like a guard that were, what do they call them? Just the militia fighters. They, for hire warriors or whatever. And as they moved across time and the country, they changed into the Freemasons. Now, see, and what makes me suspicious about that is because you do know the Knights of Columbus were a real organization. As a matter of fact, they've, in the past 70 or 80 years, have rechaptered in the United States. But this was pre-Masonic. This was before the Freemasons. And when they were in Ireland, who they were working for in the war that went on and all that kind of stuff, there were a lot of rebuilding of, the stones and things. And that was when the name Freemasons adapted to it. Now, the Illuminati, technically, that you can have all kind of Masonic. It's a brotherhood. It's like a fraternal order. A very good organization that does very good things. Most of them. There's another level that isn't necessarily to do with the organization. It is another group of individuals that, through the deception techniques that they use in the government and everywhere else, sway opinion, belief, and point directions. At the same time, what they're looking to do is pick up powerful men or get powerful men elected to powerful positions in any organization, whether it's a government or a fraternity or wherever. That's who they need to have in the Illuminati. So that's their chain. And once you just like the I would call it the things that's gone on with the DI and stuff, they've been able to infiltrate the organizations, whether it be your local Cracker Barrel or the government, and once they get in control, they use only their little DEI brotherhood or sisterhood or whatever it's called,
Deception.
The deception. They will only take those people and appoint them to the powerful positions, which helps preserve and keep their system pure so that their agenda can go in the direction they want it to.
So while you've been sitting there talking, and we've been talking about Chat GPT and stuff, I was kind of curious on what Chat GPT would say about this topic. And
Oh, wow.
And it's exactly what you just said, almost word for word.
I'm pretty good, man. I don't really deal in conspiracies. I do the research.
So it says, according to ChatGPT, the Illuminati controls hidden powerful organizations, sometimes called the New World Order, controls governments, banks, media, and world events from behind the scenes.
And again, when you take it all the way down to the core, what you're going to find out is it was merchants, trade, and banks. It was the money that controlled civilization. It was the money that brought prosperity to countries. That was what the armies were formed around. It wasn't for the population of the people. And that was what was supposed to change in America. It was supposed to be about our population and our people, not just the banks and the money and the military.
That's what it says right here. When the Illuminati first formed, was in 1776. And their goal...
The year our country was founded?
No, well,
1776.
yes, but not here. Not here.
Okay.
At this particular time, it was, I believe, in France.
When they first founded, their goals then were promoting knowledge, science, and racial thoughts, opposing superstitions, religion, influences in politics, and abuse of state power, and advocating enlightenment values like equality and freedom.
Who would want to sign up for that?
That was what they started as.
Yes. Now, but if you look in your money, it's all about, and you listen to the politicians that's been around for the past probably 30, 40 years, every one of them has talked about New World Order. And that is a specific goal from the beginning of the Illuminati. Let me give you this one, just because we're kind of off topic anyway, but this is fresh knowledge, and it's something I had been researching for about a week and a half. This whole climate change thing that they're trying to sell to you as damage that we've done is in fact part of the natural orbit of our Earth. People think that our Earth is on an axis and it just goes like this around, and it doesn't. There's a wobble. It's more like a gyro that travels on a string. You know how the gyro wobbles back and forth, but it doesn't come off string? That's how our planet goes around. Okay? Now, about every 6,000 years, it has changed from one side to the other. If you look at really old historical facts, at one time, Egypt was lush with vegetation and water and all these things. And
They
then
were just pulling stones out of the ocean or the sea of
it was the mud
city
flood.
that was 20,000 years old or something like that.
Yeah, they're
Did you see
finding that all over the place.
That was it's big news right now.
Submerged supports the theory of the flood, but it's this big wobble that our planet has that is creating these severities, and it's one of the things that was recorded in the Mayan calendar, and why people thought the end of the earth was coming because of the Mayan calendar. No, the Mayan calendar is a calendar, and that was the end of that cycle. We are now in the end of the Mayan calendar cycle, which means we're somewhere by the shift of this wobble, which the earth becomes really unstable, and things like floods and
a lot of volcanoes right now.
A lot of platonic shifts in the plates, all that kind of stuff is what's happening, but it's part of the natural state of the earth.
What's happened is
it's a catastrophe, and a lot of people may die. Depopulation.
The kid playing the video games getting tired. He's like, all right, let's just kill them all. Reset.
Well, there's nothing they're going to do to
Great
change it.
reset.
What gets me is, they talk about they've built these big, massive vault cities and stuff that are supposed to protect them when it comes time, right? Because they're all going to go down there, and if you're in the club, you're in the club. but you're not in the club. So you're going to be out here with the
Not
rest
yet.
of us. Right. We'll have to build an ark or something. But
Well, isn't that crazy that, and I don't mean to feed this too much, but the people that know everything are building tunnels in mountains.
because they probably actually know the truth of the matter, and there's not going to be any stopping it. It's
Well,
not
the
about a
Bible-
CO2. It's not about any of the stuff that they're selling to you. They know the truth that this is a cycle. It's been historically recorded.
And the Bible says that they'll hide in the mountains, and they won't be able to. Eventually, they'll pray that it falls on them. So,
That's wild.
But they're finding proof now that we had massive civilizations all across the world, and was wiped out by a catastrophic event, and we've started over again. That's why we don't know how they built the pyramids. That's why we don't know how they packed, these massive statues and rocks like on Easter Island that are, you
The
see a big
Nephilim did
head
it.
that go way down. Yeah, most likely they did.
yeah.
Yeah, because the pyramids are within 10 degrees
Mm-hmm.
of perfect north, of true north.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't even know what it's for.
No.
The fallen angels knew what it was for, and they were the ones that gave that technology over.
Isn't it? All right, so I was going to say, since we've had this conversation, or started this conversation, things like this have just been gravitating to me. I don't know if it's because Apple's listening or whatever, but I'm seeing a lot more of the, and it was actually a conversation that I'd had with somebody about, you were talking about the Nephilim or the angels going to the mountain or
Mount Hermon.
the
Yep.
Nephilim and this and that, how to do
The
things.
Watchers were teaching the people on how to do things, and that's why. And then they, had their children, the Nephilim, right, half human, half fallen angels, Watchers. On Mount Hermon, they started teaching the witchcraft, and they started teaching all the different signs and science and stuff like that.
Forbidden future knowledge.
Yeah, yep. And that's part of the reason of the flood, right? So,
Now, he had it listed on his list of one of the things that they've done there. It was either Iran or Iraq. They found the tomb of Gilgamesh, and then 30 days later, we invaded that country. We set our base up at that site. Then we covertly, at night, packed off different things. They were looking for the tomb of Gilgamesh. And they found it. And 30 days later, we invaded that country and took those artifacts away from those people.
Who was Gilgamesh? Just because I'm not familiar.
He was like the giant king. The tomb's supposed to.
he's one of the Nephilim.
Yeah, he's one of the Nephilim, and the guy said there was no doubt in his mind that this was Gilgamesh's tomb. And you know why? Because it's very descriptive. He was supposedly 17 feet tall. So they knew it was his tomb. How did they know? Because the tomb held a 17-foot tall man in it.
17 feet.
17
tall.
foot tall. You never heard a word. You know who was in charge of that operation? Hillary.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. What were they looking
Gilgamesh.
for? Gilgamesh. You should research that.
The
Are you
Jolly
looking it up
Green
right now?
Gilgamesh.
No, I was actually looking up what Brian said. He said, look up Klaus Schwab, or however you say that word, the World Economic Forum Agenda 2030.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. That they're already planning on the next one too.
I think their timeline's been altered a little bit.
I think they'll be right on it.
They're
On
calling it
schedule?
the Great
Yeah.
Reset.
Yeah,
It calls for a comprehensive global reset of economic and social systems, emphasizing stakeholders, capitalism. I can't even talk. Capitalism.
Capitalism.
That was
Capitalism.
Good try.
Say that
Don't
word.
hurt yourself.
I could not say that word. I don't know why. Where was that? Sustainability and technological integration. This includes 3 pillars: reforming markets for fair outcomes, investing in sustainability and equality, leveraging fourth industrial revolution technologies for the public's good.
I know Jessica's watching. I'm making faces while you read. I'm like,
Hey, look, I'm not the best reader.
no. What I was saying is, well, I wouldn't say anything about that, to be honest with you. My mind kind of
went blank a little bit.
Got away from because there was one specific thing, and brother had a question.
I had a question?
That when we were leaving church about
free will.
That's it. And he was going to ask.
No, I wasn't going to ask.
He said, I thought it, but I didn't want to bring it up because we have a deacon, we don't have a preacher. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, what is it? Because I'm having a lot of conversations about. I'm trying to do my own understanding. And I said, you know what? Ronnie is actually a preacher. And he goes, well, these kind of questions piss preachers off sometimes.
I don't like to ask certain things because I've made people mad. And it really, honestly is just something that...
Go ahead and ask it. If it's a question,
technically the guy's sermon that he was given was over the duality. You have a good option and a bad option. Like I say, he even said a little devil, a little angel talking to you on each side. And we have freedom of will. And that's what he gave us that's different. But what's always bothered me is...
Different from who, though?
The angels didn't have freedom of will.
Well, of course they did, because they chose to fall. Yeah.
Well, that's always been my question, because he was pointing out the fact that was what was special about us, is he gave us freedom of will.
What was special about us is we were created in his image. The angels are not. So we were created in his image, and that's what sparked the jealousy. And if they didn't have free will, they wouldn't have been able to rebel and leave.
That's what I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to ask.
No, the reason we're special is because we were created in God's image.
I was under the impression they didn't have free will.
No,
and
they've got free will.
If they didn't have free will, how did they rebel?
Right. Yeah, they rebelled. But now you're talking about. See, I this is where I'm going to upset a few preachers that preach the free will thing. We have freedom of choice.
Freedom of choice.
But not necessarily what you would call a true free will. Because our will, once we choose God, we submit ourselves to God's will and his will in life. You're either serving God's will or the enemy's will. Uh-huh. So you truly don't have free will, because if you go with free will, you're using the enemy's will, not God's. So you have freedom of choice.
Well, see, because I didn't ask the question, it just rolled around in my mind, and I was trying to see if maybe it was coming from an aspect of we also have forgiveness. We get forgiveness,
right?
But do they say they didn't have free will for the basis of it was an immediate sin that got you cast out of heaven to make this decision? There was no, I'm sorry and repenting for your...
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
There's no... There is no...
It didn't come until Jesus died, right? Is that... Am I right on the right? I don't know.
No, they still atoned. They still atoned for their sins, and they still, because you had Abraham's bosom, right, paradise, and then the chasm on the other side where the rich man went, right. So that was before Jesus, where Jesus was telling the story, right, of where Abraham and the man of Lazarus was, and then the rich man hollering over and telling them, go tell my brother not to come here. Give me a drink of water, just a drop of water. That was all there, but that's called Sheol, right? So it's not the hell that we think. That was Sheol.
I don't know what the difference is.
Everybody went to Sheol at that point, which is what's translated as hell. Hell is actually means the grave. See, we're not the whole theory. The devil doesn't rule hell. It's not going to rule hell. Hell was created as we know it, right? The abyss was created. The prison was created for Satan and his followers, not for man. But man can choose to follow Satan there, which is separation from God, or be in heaven with God. So, but everybody went to hell basically, but it was two different things: paradise and the place of torment, separated by a huge chasm, right? That you couldn't cross back or forth. According to Jesus, that's what Jesus was saying. But after Jesus, yes, he defeated that and defeated all that. So
It's like in the 3 days,
he went to Sheol,
to one of these places and took people to heaven.
right, with him. And 500 different people resurrected with him. So, actually resurrected according to witnesses, and not just biblical. There's a whole, I mentioned a few that pointed to that, and early church scholars and documentations that pointed to those things in the last one. But when you're talking about hell as we know it, right, and the vision that you get of all those things,
And just
that's from
burning in some fire and
a
stuff.
man named Dante.
Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, that's where all that came from, is from that book that he had written, and all those images and portrays of hell was from him, and that was kind of adopted into tradition, but that's not what the Bible describes it as when it goes through it. Now, Peter does go on in one of the apocalypses, Dead Sea Scrolls, in the Apocalypse of Peter. Peter doesn't do it, but somebody did it under the name of Peter, talked about the different layers of hell and how things are and how it is. But now that's after they're cast. See, the Bible says he's going to take hell, the grave, cast it into the lake of fire. Then he's going to take the lake of fire, cast it into the bottomless pit, right? So there's a few stages to it, and this is the second death.
Any of that.
Really, that's scripture. That's Bible.
Serious? No, I just thought there was you go one place or you go the other place, and that was it.
Well, you know, you're either
Realized that there was, once you got to this place, we're going to pack you up and throw you to this place, and then once you get there, we're going to pack you up and throw you to this place.
it's different. It's going to happen pretty quick, right? Almost instantly. But in our time, see, God's not bound by time. And this is where people get confused.
We made up time.
We have to have time in order for us to be able to grow our physical bodies.
Entanglement.
Right. So, but God is not bound by time. Neither is the spiritual realm bound by time in the way that we know it. Right. So God knows the end, and he knows the beginning, and he knows the present. He knows it all. Right. So this is where I was saying we have freedom of choice, because we can talk predestination and all this stuff.
But angels have freedom of choice.
Yeah, they have freedom of choice on who they get served or who they want to serve. And that's what I was saying is Satan probably could have repented. I don't know. But his whole jealousy infused him on his hatred for us. Has infused him. He's taken many names. The serpent is not the same that'll be, the serpent that was in the garden is not going to be the same as the one in the end. You know what I mean? There's many different forms of Satan, the enemy. The serpent was the first.
Then it talks about the dragon in Revelation.
Right. So, but now we're talking a whole different thing that we can go on, predestination, all that, and that kind of scares people. But
Do you believe in it?
do I believe in predestination? I believe that God knows you in your womb. God knows the choices you're going to make, and God will try to use people to come to your life, right? And give you plenty of opportunity to choose, and he knows whether you're going to choose or not. He knows that, but he's got to get things in the situation. But so when the devil is confounded by time, right? Because he's here with us too. The enemy, he has to see things happen as God's doing it. So he can see that Paul's getting, God's moving people in Paul's life and Jericho's life and moving people here to talk to them this way and talk to them this way.
Your whole day.
So he's trying to manipulate and stop that and influence your choices and influence things. But God's going to give many opportunity. The Bible says that nobody can come to the Father unless they come through me and are drawn by the Father. You have to be drawn. So that tells me that he's the one seeking you.
He's the one that said, even if this kid's trying to deceive you, he's a young man who has kids, and you should give his money back.
But there's nothing worse. What is it? What does it say? The things that come out of your mouth is worse than the things that go in.
Oh, it's not what goes in a man's mouth that defiles the man, is what comes out. Every word that proceedeth out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth will speak. Yeah. I preach we're going back to the heart now, but I've done a series on the heart before, but we just came out of the one on faith. And I'm going back into needing a heart transplant, because you have to be a new creature, new heart.
So what's to say the devil, he can't read your mind? So the only way...
Well, I don't know that he can't read your mind, but...
He's AI.
He's trying
to read your mind.
He's trying, and I've got more talking points on that stuff.
Let me just get to some of the questions people are asking. So Leanne wanted to ask how Ronnie feels about his understanding of the Book of Revelation. Kathy Jackson says Revelation is hard. And Kathy Jackson also says we are living on what is going to be hell. And then Brian Wager says Fourth Industrial Revolution. So we've covered a lot of stuff.
I don't want to go into the particular religion that believes that we are in hell right now. But there is a particular religion that believes that this is hell.
This is the hell. Right.
And you are, living to try to get out of here.
I've heard this.
Yeah, that's not what Scripture says, right? That's not what Jesus said. Jesus talked about hell more than he talked about just about anything else. There is a clear distinction between, going to heaven and not going to heaven. So, and there's a clear distinction on Judgment Day, and there's actually a few judgments, but we're talking the judge of the white throne, right? Book of Life. See if your name's in it or not. And the saints will go through the Bema seat, which is another judgment. That's not a judgment whether you're going to heaven or hell. That's just a judgment where you take everything you've done in life, put it in a pile, and it'll be burnt. Anything that's not of God and anything that you've done in life that is of God is your reward type thing. So some people are not going to have anything, but at least they made it to heaven, right? A lot of people like to say, well, that's not fair. Well, suck it up, buttercup. I'm going to be better off in heaven than you are, right? That's I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
but
no man's been without sin.
Yeah, nobody's been without it. We're all going to fall short.
So you can't say, hey, that guy wasn't as good as me.
Yeah, but I mean, it even speaks of you're putting rubies in your crown and things like that, and store your treasures in heaven where moss and rust and thieves can't touch it. So,
but what good is any treasure in heaven?
Well, I don't know exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, we don't know what exactly
What are we gonna
is
trade them?
going to be in heaven,
What are we gonna
right?
trade them valuables for?
Well,
I've already got a mansion.
now when you're thinking of treasure, though, what are you thinking of treasure?
Well, either side of it seems like, because it also says in the Bible, because I treasure the people I love, and that's an emotional treasure.
Right.
And then there's the the monetary treasure, and
Well, you're not going to need monetary, so you can forget golds and,
well, then-
and
so
stuff
it
like
doesn't
that.
matter if there's a ruby in my crown, because ain't nobody gonna care about it.
No, yeah, but I mean, you're also looking at the there that talks about, and I can't remember the exact scripture, so I have to look it up and bring it to you, send it to you eventually. But and maybe somebody knows, but there's some point when you're in heaven that anybody that you've ever impacted will come and thank you for your impact that you made, So that's why I say you're going to be known in heaven as you are on earth.
I'll struggle with that one, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I'll struggle with that one.
Not your sinful nature, because that is going to be gone away, right? But your spirit will be known as the spirit, and your good spirit, your good.
We had almost an hour-long conversation, and I call you, and I'm like, Ronnie,
Yeah.
you mean I'm not going to know my wife the way I know my wife? And you're like, that's what it says.
No, I didn't say it's what it says. I said that's.
Well, I mean,
I
you can sugarcoat it if you like, but it kind of feels like that's what you said.
well, I don't.
It's no sugarcoating, Sammy. No sugarcoat.
I don't. This is where it gets into. I'm not, and I'm not a scholar on that. So you need somebody that's been in theology on that, that's dug into that. Like I said, there's very little compared to the hell descriptions. There's very little on what heaven's going to be, other than streets of gold and gates of pearl and things like that we know. But there's very little on how we interact with each other, right? The main thing is we're with God and worship God, and we'll see Jesus and we'll be with our Savior. But as far as you knowing your wife as a wife, I'm not sure on that. I can't answer yes or no definitively. So I'm like,
But what does it say?
well, that's the thing, is it doesn't say that you're not.
It was that you do not know as the same relationships.
Well, I'd have to.
Everybody is brothers and sisters of the Lord.
Well, I mean-
I don't know. Where does it say that? That's
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm,
see, that's-
I'm not even a preacher. I'm just a guy that sits in a pew.
yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I can't say or speak on that, even opinion, because I've not read the scripture and I'm not sure
But if
which
it
one
was
you're
in
talking about
there,
and whether
you
the
have
context.
Leading the witness.
Yeah.
No. I mean, he's a preacher. He's read the book.
Yeah, but you. But you're talking, you read 66 books, and yes, you read 66 books, and most people are going to say, yeah, you read through it, but not everything sticks, not everything speaks to you, right?
Right.
So it's like when I'm, preparing for a sermon, I may read 6 or 7 books before anything sticks to me and speaks to me,
Right.
And then I'll be like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden I go back, and there's some people that are great at memorizing scripture, but I'm not one of those.
Me neither.
I'm not somebody that can remember every scripture.
And I don't care to share that. It was our bishop that said, you'll not know your wife. You'll not know your parents. You'll have love, and you'll love everyone.
Well,
However, you won't love them in the same capacity.
the only thing I don't know. I struggle with that same thing, because I love my wife, I love my kids. With
Heaven doesn't sound so appealing if you don't.
if
know
you're
them
not
that
going to
way.
be with the ones that you want to be with, right? But then you come into the situation where, well, what if your child doesn't make it? right? Because they have free will, they have free choice, right? Well, if your child doesn't make it, well, that's the only thing I can say to that is
miss them, and that's not what heaven does.
right, because he wipes away your
Rejoice
tears.
in heaven. There's no tears in heaven.
So then you wouldn't remember them, right?
Right.
I don't know. That's a good, I can do some research and see and talk to some of my theology friends. As far as studying that and the theology on that specific thing, that would be something I've not done a deep
I'll
dive.
tell you, I was devastated. Preacher says that. Look
Yeah.
what's to, and we talked about it. It's like, you know what?
Yeah.
I just don't know that. That's what I would want heaven to look like. I would want to go there, and the people I love that made it.
And like I said too, though, I saw Paul Washer. He's a famous, Reformed preacher. Talk about that all you're going to do in heaven 24/7 is just be on your knees, bowing to God.
That doesn't sound awesome either, does it?
And
Isaiah 65:17 says, "For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former things shall not be remembered or come into mind." Some intercept this to mean we won't remember our past lives or our loved ones. But many scholars believe this means the pain, sorrow, and sin of the old world will no longer trouble us.
right,
Not that we will lose memory of our loved ones.
right. See, that's what I was saying. I think there's the
Court's out on that.
theology and the scholars, right? When you start diving into other historical documents and where did these teachings come in from, these theories? Because don't even get me started on pre-trib, post-trib. Because a lot of these came in 1776.
Yeah, when we our country and
Yeah, so
CIA was made aware of.
this
CIA didn't exist back then.
I'm just
Right.
teasing. I'm just teasing you guys on the
Right.
CIA in Washington.
But no, it's like that specific thing is what I'm saying is I don't think we're really going to know till we get there, but I know that God knows our heart and he created you. Like I told you, he created you with the specific attitude that you have and the characteristics you have because he wants a personal relationship with you.
I think that.
And that is the God that I want to serve. That's the God that I think we all want to have a personal relationship with, is somebody that created us in a unique way, that he wants to have a conversation with us. Me specifically, he sought me. He sought Jericho. He sought Paul. He sought Kenny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
here's
so he sought us, and he sent his son so that we can have that relationship with him. Right? That right there is worth going to worship him for. And the Bible does say that you're supposed to, he that loves his mother and father hates God, and if you don't hate your mother and father, you don't love God. The specifics of that is not literal translation of hate your mother, father. It's talking about the leave and cleave, right? If you're the traditions of your mother and father, the old former ways, like Isaiah is talking about, if you're listening and serving them over God, you're putting somebody else above God. And in today's world, there's a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that put their kids over their own spouse. They live for their own kids over their own spouse, and this is where it gets dangerous, because the man of the household is supposed to be the head of the household. There's an order to things, and this is why the enemy tries so hard to break that order.
I try to tell my wife about the pecking order of our.
No, it's not a pecking order. She's a helpmeet, not a helpmate, right?
Yeah.
So that
I
means
get the big piece of chicken. Every night.
Now, if she serves the dad before the children, that's one thing. That's fine. I think it should be that way. I love my kids. Granted, my kids normally get served before I do. But I think that it should go to the man of the house if he's running the house in a godly way. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's protecting. He's providing, raising everybody up the right way. He should be the first to sit down.
Back in the old times, it was that.
Mm-hmm.
The man of the house ate first. He got the biggest portion.
And I'm not trying to be male chauvinist, right?
Then the mother got to
I
eat.
tell you,
Right.
My grandmother, brother's mom, my Nana, she made sure every one of us ate before she made our plates. She didn't do it until I was an adult, but all the guys, she made all the men's plates. They all got to eat first. They got their plates before anybody.
She lived by example.
Yeah. I think that just comes from, just respect of being the head of the house. But now there's some men that should not be the head of the house, So that's where it takes a church and mentoring, mentoring and counseling and other men to help sharpen them, because iron sharpens iron. But now when you're talking about, your wife as your wife, that I can't honestly say, but it just doesn't, sound like that's, I
don't know that anybody, and I don't mean this in any certain way, but I don't know that anybody that would want to go to a place that they didn't know anybody.
Well, yeah, you're gonna. That's the thing. You're gonna know by the Spirit your brother, your sisters in Christ, right? You're gonna know because your attitude was created by God. You were created by God. He's not going to completely change and take who you are away. That's the whole purpose we're here.
And this is a loaded question. I don't mean it to be.
Was you just talking about afterlife?
Yeah.
What you just said, you don't want to go anywhere where you don't know anybody.
I don't. This is all right. So this is gonna sound really crappy, and that's okay. But if I don't know my wife, if I don't know my kids, and all I'm gonna do is spending all day worshiping somebody, I'm not that interested.
Well, no, at no point in time does it say,
well,
you won't.
No, I mean know them like I know them.
Well, hold on. I found 3 verses that might help you. I found 3 verses, 3 different things that might.
That don't mean that I don't want to be a good person. Does that me making that statement doesn't change my heart as far as I want to help people. I want to do this. I'm just saying very bluntly that that's not what my idea of heaven sounds like.
Well, we'll get to that here in just a sec.
I hope I'm saying this right. Thessalonians.
Okay,
Thessalonians 4:13. And ironically, it has your name in it.
It should.
So
because it's written by Paul.
Yeah,
to me.
So it says, Paul comforts believers that when Christ returns, we will be reunited with those who have died in Christ, suggesting remembrance and recognition.
No.
Right.
That doesn't really suggest that. What you just
I'm just
said
reading
is
what it says.
that we will remember other brothers in Christ. It doesn't mean that we're going to know
Well,
our
it's
brothers.
what he's.
If I'm saved and you're saved, we're going to know one another are brothers, right?
He's talking about knowing like the ones that had passed away beforehand, like Abraham, Peter, the other apostles that passed away before then. So that's what he's talking about in Thessalonians is we get to see the fallen brothers, we'll be with those. And you'll know them as, Peter, John, Matthew, the disciples.
Just recognition.
Recognition. You're going to recognize them.
So Matthew 7:13 says, at the transfiguration, the disciples recognized Moses and Elijah, showing that identity and memory are preserved in the heavenly realm.
And then even Jesus talked about, when I gave the example of Abraham and Lazarus and the rich man. The rich man knew Abraham and Lazarus on the other side of the chasm as Abraham and Lazarus. And
have we just talked out that you will know?
Yeah, the only thing is I don't know is if the intimate relationship, right? Because it won't be there. Yeah. Your intimacy, you'll have no need for that.
So we've touched on Revelations too. And Revelations said he will wipe away every tear from their eyes.
Right.
That implies sorrow is removed, but not necessarily our memories.
And that goes back to Isaiah. So, and that's what we're talking about. Your memories, who you are, was built for a specific purpose. God put who you are, your soul, your spirit in you, created it unique. And this is why the angel, the angels that fell, the fallen angels, hate us so much, is because God loves you so much that he gave you that individual identity just to be able to talk to you. And it not be the same conversation with Kenny, not be the same conversation with me. Like we're four, all have different points of view, all different sense of humors, and we're all made in the image of God. God can be all those things with us. So to say that, now let's go to your heart thing. You still want to be a good person with your heart. The Bible does say that we're all born inherently evil, and the heart is deceptive above all things. So it's saying not to follow your heart, because your heart is deceptive above all things. It wants and desires things of the world when you need to be seeking the kingdom first and wanting the things of God. Now, I'm not saying that you're not going to know your wife is your wife. I'm not going to know my wife is my wife. I don't know the specifics on that. But I should know, because most are going to say, I'll know her as Linda. But where it comes into getting into theology and things like that, you're going to have, what about the people that had multiple wives? Right? What about the people that had, multiple spouses that died? Right? Which one are they married to then?
Yeah.
That's where I can't answer specific, because I'm not into that theology part of it.
Well, it says the Bible does not directly state that we will forget our loved ones, but it promises.
This is all just kind of interpretation.
Yeah, no, not. We're talking facts. What somebody told you is interpretation.
No. What he's just said, that's an interpretation. It doesn't directly state this, but this could be implied. That's an interpretation.
Well, that's kind of interpretation.
It said it promises a future where sorrow, pain, and loss are gone, but joy, love, and fellowship remain.
Yeah, that you're there's plenty of scripture that says you're going to know as you know. So as far as the relationship, right? As far as a husband and wife, I don't know on that. Just because there is those situations where multiple, like my mom had 4 husbands pass away on her. Which one's she going to be married to?
But is it a sin?
Obviously.
But which one loved her the most, right?
Let me ask this. Is it a sin to hope to remember your loved ones?
No, I don't think so. I think that's our hope, is that and Paul gave it in Thessalonians, that we will see them again, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things.
So I was talking, was it you and I talking, or about many mansions? And mansions could be
like a big hotel rooms. Yeah, because he says, in my Father's house there are many mansions. So you have to go back to what the word translated meant at that point, right? So it'd been like a room at that point.
So one of the things I'd heard was, in the translation to their day, it actually meant, in my Father's cosmos or universe, there are many.
It could be. I mean, we're all in one. Like, even then, the house, right? When you say in my Father's house, you're talking like the house of David, right? David, his lineage is his entire house. The house of Buchanan, right, is the entire family house. So when you're talking that way, it could be, we all get our own individual mansion or house.
Well, and this is
But let's think about when we think a mansion, totally different than what a mansion was back then, because my house would be a mansion to what they had back then, and mine's, a small house. So we live in a spoiled time and world.
and this is just a question or a statement rather. Adam, living a perfect life in a perfect universe, needed Eve.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't
For
imagine
companionship.
how heaven would be any different. Because where it's a perfect universe and I'm a perfect person, but still needing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a statement.
Mm-hmm.
This is-
That's an interpretation. I don't know. I'd like to agree with you because I love my wife. I want my wife to be with me,
If I
right?
didn't like my wife, I probably would feel.
Wouldn't be with her, right? I wouldn't.
I'd feel differently. I'd be like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, after 26 years,
Hell, really bad.
yeah. So
Just separate us.
yeah. Now, I would say I would like a 2-week vacation. No.
Even this in Revelation says, souls under the altar cry out to God, asking, how long until you judge and avenge our blood?
Mm-hmm.
Which is them showing memory of an earthly life that remains.
Yeah, God didn't create you by accident, and then to just totally remove everything that makes you Paul. He didn't do that.
Right.
So that would be counterintuitive. He created you. He knew you, formed you in the womb, knows every hair on your head. He's wanting a relationship with each and every one of us, right? Individually, and he knows our heart's desires. But that's where you spoke on your heart wants to do good. And that's why I say the Bible says we're inherently evil. We don't know how to do good until we actually get a new heart that God's given us. And then God starts showing you what good is. We're still going to fall, but we're not leaning on what our heart wants as much as what God wants for us, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's one day when God pulls you and you commit and give over, you'll slowly start to learn what I'm saying.
Well, see, isn't that, and not to be contrary,
mm-hmm.
but that's the catch-22 all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? The reason why you don't understand this is because it's not called you. And when he calls you,
well,
you'll get it in.
I say he's called you. I say he's called you. I just don't know why you ain't accepted.
Well, see, the way that it is very scary to me. How many people are going to go to hell thinking they were saved?
Mm-hmm.
Like all these people that go to these revivals and they're playing this beautiful music and they feel overwhelmed and they go up there and they get saved. They just done it because they were in that moment.
Didn't you watch what I said Sunday?
I watched some of it, yes.
Yeah, and I spoke on emotion. Don't get so involved in emotion to where you lose sight of your spirit, because if you're following emotions, you're going to be misled.
That's your heart.
That's your heart.
Yeah.
You're going to be misled.
People are going to go to hell?
Because and I've said that there's going to be many preachers that'll preach and love you straight to hell, and they're good intentions and they're good people, but they're not going to sit down and tell you the truth. Look, you may be a good person, your church attendance may be perfect,
that it's not anything other than God pulling me there, because I don't want to make the mistake that other people have.
Well, yeah, I mean, but what do you need God to do to show you that it's him and no mistake, right?
Well, I believe it to be a magical moment.
Mm-hmm.
Something that that I'm going to just be like, you know what? God has his hands all over this. He's got his hands all over a moment of clarity where I'm like, you know what?
But you've spoke on that for a while, though.
That it's been heavy on my heart. Like,
Yeah.
listen, I'm standing at the door.
Right.
I'm waiting for the knock.
No,
I
he's
just
been
haven't-
knocking.
I just haven't felt the knock.
You haven't felt the need to go up to the altar.
No, I haven't felt the knock. Like, because you don't have to be an altar. You can get saved right where you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it has to do with what is true. Like you've lived this life. I've known people that went to church on Sunday and prayed and got saved, spent their whole week in sin, and would go back the next week and do it all over again.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true repentance. I mean, for me, it's not. I believe that true repentance comes by you learning your lesson, knowing inside and truthfully sorry for what sin you had committed,
Right.
to the point you know you're not going to do that again.
You turn away from it, right? It's a choice to turn away and not do it again. At least try, make an honest, because now there's people.
This is how far I went with this thought. I got a job at the casino. And I'm like, you know what? God wouldn't want me here. I've thought that. Like, I don't need to be around all this.
Acting.
Well, I've thought about it. I still got a family to support and stuff. But, I mean, that's how far, deep in thought of it is, if I was living the life, I wouldn't even want to be in there.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, to me, right, your job would present plenty of opportunity to minister to the people. Are you condoning what they're doing?
But being there,
Are you?
No.
It's going to be there whether you're there or not, right? Now, are you the one, taking them to the machines and telling them what machines to play and pulling the levers and putting their money?
Let's go get you some more money.
Yeah.
Let's go get you debit card. You get some more money. You're not
And
doing that.
encouraging the spending and encouraging the
no, in fact, if everybody told me, if everybody heard me tell how many people to leave,
Yeah.
like, listen, looks like you done good. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Right.
I've
So
seen it probably 3 times a shift.
yeah, and
outta here.
that's what I'm saying. But that would be a good opportunity to minister to people. I mean, now would I go work in a strip club? Absolutely not. Right. Not because they don't need preaching to, because they absolutely do. Everybody deserves to learn about the good news. But because I know myself as a man in my flesh, and I'm not going to put myself in that situation where I'd be tempted.
Right.
So, or I'm also, the
Yeah,
Bible
it's
says,
very similar to that.
and the Bible says, don't let anybody speak ill of your good works, right?
That's why that man got his money back.
Yeah.
Jesus did.
So-
Jesus hung out with
That
sinners.
man-
He didn't hang out
Right.
with perfect
His money
people.
Right. Now, well, yeah, I've said that too a few times. I'm like, now Jesus didn't condemn the person. He just didn't condone their sin. So, and a lot of people say he hung out with sinners. He never left them in the same spot they were in. Right. So they may have been sinners when he encountered them, but they were not sinners when he left. He didn't leave them in the same situation that they were in. So he didn't hang out with sinners. It wasn't like he went into the bar and started singing Sweet Home Alabama. He went into the bar and started preaching and everybody converted. And the next thing you know, the bar shut down and it's a church, right?
Yeah.
That's the impact Jesus had. It wasn't that he was hanging out with sinners. It was, he was here for the sinners. That's what he's here for.
The reality is, though, we're all sinners.
Right.
So how could he avoid hanging out with the sinners?
Because the group that followed him converted, right? They're all converted to Christianity, to follow, to accept his gift of salvation, to repentance, the call. Now, the 12 that he had with him stumbled a lot along the way. I mean, he rebuked them over and over and over. How, where's your faith? Ye of little faith. How much longer shall I suffer you? When are you going to get it? you have all this power, you have all this authority. I've gave it to you. I've taught you all these lessons. And it wasn't until after he resurrected that they finally got it, right? And they saw the resurrected Jesus, that they understood he was the Messiah. He had the... Now, they may have mentally done it, and this is the way a lot of Christians are. Mentally know who he is, but it's until you see the power of Jesus that you fully grasp it and change and go, I got it now. I understand. Because you may be walking with him like Paul for a year, following, listening to his teachings, seeing him do everything for everybody else, all these miracles, and see all this stuff going on. But until you touch his scars in his hands, put your fingers in his side, and see the power of the resurrected Jesus, then it's not going to be real to you.
Yep.
You know.
You will deny him 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's funny that you talk about the heart and stuff, and how the biggest betrayal in the Bible was a kiss. You know? Right?
Was the what?
Was a kiss.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Judas. But Judas, his heart was never, and that's what we were talking about.
I was just drawing the line between a heart and
a kiss. But here's the thing, though, is Judas at the Last Supper was the only one that didn't refer to Jesus as master or Lord. He referred to him as rabbi, teacher. All the others, and this is when Jesus, but see, Jesus loved Judas so much, even though he knew Judas was going to be the one that betray him, he loved him so much that nobody knew that it was Judas that was going to betray him. He didn't make a difference in him. He treated him exactly the same as he treated all the other disciples, because it was last summer when he said, one of you is going to betray me. And all of them went, is it me? Every one of them.
Didn't a lot of them do it in different ways? Like the one denied him. That was kind of a betrayal, right?
Denied him 3 times, but Jesus makes up for that later, because he makes him. He says, asked him, "Do you love me?" 3 times.
Was it Peter or Paul that did that?
Peter.
Yeah. Didn't he live longer than the rest of them?
No.
Or didn't he had to die differently than the rest of them?
He died differently, yeah.
He didn't want to be, they were going to put him on a cross like
right.
Jesus, and he said, hang me upside down or something that I don't deserve to.
Now, John was the one that lived longer. And John was the only one that went to the crucifixion.
John, the same as John the Revelator?
It depends on the scholar. There's a lot of scholars that believe it's not the same, that it's a different John.
John the Revelator is the one that wrote Revelations.
Right.
And then there's John that wrote John. Or they could be the same John.
They could be the same. I think they're the same John, but now there's some that say there's not, because by the time Revelations was written, he'd have been an old man, right? Very old man, up in his 80s or somewhere around there. I mean, I can give you a wild theory. I don't think John's dead. I think John's still alive today. But
I've heard that too, that there were 3. Is it 3?
Are they the Watchers?
People mentioned in the Bible that never died?
John, they never found his body. That's never mentioned that he died in the Bible. And Jesus also made the comment that one of you won't see death until I return. And he said, what is it? And he pointed to John and said, what is it if I said to him that it's him, to the other disciples? But everybody says that, he obviously had to die. But if Jesus said he didn't have to die, he don't have to die. But he did get put in prison in Patmos, and he was writing to the 7, and John, the apostle,
right?
did teach in those 7 different churches.
7 churches. That's
around Patmos. So that's what
The same 7 churches it speaks about in Revolution.
yeah, in Revelations, the same churches were right around Patmos there. So,
Seals and everything else.
well, you're talking the 7 spirits of the 7 churches, and then there's the 7 seals, the 7
But that's all the
scrolls,
same group.
and the 7 bowls. No, it's not all the same group. There's differences.
7 there, 7 there, 7 there, 7 there.
No, the 7 churches and 7 spirits are all the same.
But the rest of it's different.
7 scrolls, 7 seals, 7 bowls are all different judgments and different things that happened that he saw in his vision of heaven.
Gotcha.
But now he was writing to the 7 churches and the 7 spirits. The Revelations was written to him. We did a Revelation Bible study a couple months ago, and we talked about that. And even I had somebody come in and do a teaching on that, and we had good conversation.
Have you mentioned on here before where you preach at?
Tri-County Trinity
I was
Church.
just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Where's this guy preaching at?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's people that would love to hear your sermon.
Possibly
Yeah.
join. Yeah.
Tri-County Trinity Church. We're out by Bee Creek Road in southern Corbin. You pass Bee Creek up if you're going to like the Cumberland Falls, and we're the very next one on the road on the left that goes up the hill.
Where they're doing that subdivision and stuff.
Yeah, where they're doing a subdivision, you go up that, and where there's an old white church and a new brick church. That's us. That's both of those are ours. So, but every Sunday at 11:30.
And if you
Yeah,
can't make it, you actually do a Facebook Live feed there too.
We try to most of the time. My oldest son that was here that one time walked in, he runs the sound for me sometimes. Not very good. So, and he wasn't there this past Sunday, so it was somebody else that did the.
I was listening to it. I was leaving Snappy's. Me and brother
Yeah.
were actually in the car, and I was playing it because it's Luke's
Yeah.
birthday, so we couldn't make it. I was telling you that we were been trying to make it there.
But that's what we're teaching on right now is not to so much follow emotion, because emotion can mislead you, right? And we're emotional creatures, don't get me wrong, but one of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. And that's the last fruit of the Spirit. And when we're talking about the fruits of the Spirit, by the way, there's 9 fruits of the Spirit listed, but if you read it, it says 9 fruit of the Spirit, meaning it's all one fruit. So it's a little confused, because some people are like,
Glitched him. I seen it.
yeah, it's glitched. But some people are like, well, love, joy, peace, meekness, and all these fruits of the Spirit. I've got some of those. I don't have self-control. And I say, if you don't have self-control, you don't have any of them, right? It's not like a specific order of things, but I do say if you don't have joy, look at the first fruit and fix it. The first one listed, because if you don't have joy, then it's probably because you don't have love. So the only way you get joy is to show love, and you have to have a servant heart to be able to show love. You have to be able to just love to help people, love to serve people, right? You said you have that.
Yeah, you said I was wrong.
No, I didn't say he's wrong. I said
I would be misguided.
unfortunately, that's not enough to get you to heaven, right? Because you have to serve Jesus, right? You have to believe in Jesus Christ. And it's more than just believing that he lived and died and was on earth, because there's actual physical proof. Jesus lived, died, and was on the earth and resurrected. There's physical documents outside the Bible that prove all that. There's physical evidence that proves that. There's the Shaw. They've done scientific studies on the blood of the Shaws
And the DNA.
and the DNA of it. They've done all that. That's proven. And trust me, if the devil could find his body,
Positive, wasn't it?
he would. He would have found his body if it was able to be found, because that would destroy Christianity. But he can't find the body. It's resurrected. It's not here on earth. It's gone. So he's a living God. We don't serve a dead God. And that's the main thing is if it's more than believing they lived and died, because there's enough physical proof to know the man existed. Just like there's enough proof now that they found the ark and all those things, from Noah's Ark. There's enough proof to know that these things happen. When you believe in something, if you believe you're going to be a DJ, you go buy the equipment, you go rehearse the songs, you get a playlist, you get to know your craft, you believe in it, right? You put effort into it, you work towards it. And I'm not saying you're saved by works. I'm saying that you show me your works, I'll show you where your faith is. You have faith either in Jesus or you have faith in the world. And when I say world, I'm talking yourself too, your own flesh, right? You either believe in yourself, the world, or Satan blatantly, or you believe in Jesus. That's your choice.
You don't always know
Yeah.
what the plan is. As a matter of fact, you will fight the plan before you, and it will cause you turmoil because you did.
100 times. I ran from God for several years because I did not want to give over to him. I did not want to let go of who I was. I was scared. I'm like, if I go give my life to God, that's going to completely change who I am. And I've got to get rid of this, and I got to get rid of that, and I got to let go of that. And I really don't want to do that. I like my rock and roll. I'm a heavy metal guy. I play music. I'm a guitarist. Broke my thumb, had to quit playing guitar, couldn't play a whole set, so I went and switched to drums just to play music. Played country, played in the bars, played all this stuff.
I also love heavy metal.
Yeah. But, I grew up on Sepultura, Pantera, Rage Against the Machine, Metallica, Megadeth, following them. Got to see them in Germany, as a matter of fact. A lot of those guys at the Rock and Ring 3-day metal festival. But I was like, I'm not ready to give all that up. And I ran from the calling of God, and it was conviction that was poured on me. And I was miserable, like you said. Everything I tried to do fell apart. And it got down to where I was homeless. And I had to hit rock bottom and lose everything for me to look up and just go, okay, well, I give up. I'm yours. I'll quit trying to do it my way, and I'm yours. And it didn't instantly my life was better, right? It was a work. But then I started developing love for other people and seeing people through God's eyes, not my eyes, through jealousy, hate, and and greed and selfishness, and then I got joy, and I started enjoying just being around people, whether they were mean to me or how they treated me, and I had nothing to share, nothing to offer. And then peace came, and I had peace in the trouble of things. I was to the point, though, to where I legit, my wife had called and said, the people came that was watching our dogs because we were homeless. They can't watch our dogs anymore. So I went, got our dogs, and I had a gun, 2-barrel little mini snake charmer, little 410 that you could put 45s in it, 2-barrel. I had 3 bullets, 2 dogs, and I was on my way up to Devil's Creek, on the way up into the forest, and there's an old government pond at the top of Devil's Creek there. We got the dogs out, tied them up, got on my knees, and I was ready to shoot the dogs, put them out of their misery, and I couldn't even shoot my own dogs to put them out of their misery, so I took the gun to point it to me. But before I went, as we was going up, and we went into that government pond area. There was a hump because they just started cutting them trenches in to keep the four-wheelers and ATVs out of the Danger Boom Forest. So I bounced over the hump where my dog went and hit, and I had an F-150, a 1994 F-150, and it had one of the push-button four-wheel drives on it. And he fell forward and hit that at his head, which jerked the truck and made it stop. Well, that flew the gun off into my console, into my cup holders down here, and I had a cup of coffee because I always have coffee. Pulled my gun out real quick, went out. I'm sitting there with the gun to my head, pull the trigger, and nothing happens. I flip it to the other side, pull the trigger, and nothing happens. And I'm broke down at this point because I had nothing else to do, nowhere else to go but to give it to God. I legit wanted to die.
That's the damn story I'm looking for, Ronnie.
Yeah.
That's the clarification I need. That somebody's knocking on my door.
Yeah.
When I say I want a magical moment, obviously that's not magical, but I want something where it's just so resounding that this is right. This is now. You're being called. That's what it is.
It wasn't.
Explained it. Obviously it wasn't a magical moment.
Oh, it was.
Well, I mean, after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was an emotional moment when, I mean, because I thought I was dying. I wanted to die.
Right.
I wanted out. I was so mad at God at that point that I was ready to go to hell. Because in my entire life, I was always taught, if you commit suicide, you're going to hell.
Yeah. You don't believe that now?
I don't believe that, but not to a point. It depends.
I'm
right.
not trying to diverge. Just
right.
quick answer.
But at that point, I was willing to. But it didn't happen, And I still had to struggle. Still had struggle. I still had hard times, but I had peace, and I approached it so different that it was God. And now, 20-something years later, I'm able to look back and go, I know exactly why God did that, because God had a plan for me. And even the struggle I'm going through now, right? I understand that there's going to be a plan on the other side. See, even the disciples, twice, Jesus once told them, let's get in the boat, we're going to the other side of the lake. And then he goes to sleep, and a big storm comes while they're going, and it's all turmoil and storms and heartache, and they thought they were going to
just walking on the water, right?
No, not yet. He's asleep in the bow. They were scared to death. They saw, the Bible says that they saw that they were going to be in danger, right? They were in danger. Water was coming in, boat was sinking. They cried out to the master, woke him up. Hey, don't you care that we're about to die? Jesus gets up, calms the storm, and then rebukes them. Give little faith. Where's your faith is what he says then. Where is your faith? You say to the seas. But it says that they were more afraid when he said that. That's the interesting wording, is that the disciples were sore afraid, it says, when he said that to them. Where is your faith? Because they were like, who is this man that even the seas, winds, and waves obey him? They started seeing it together. The next time that you were talking about, right? Jesus said, I'll meet you on the other side. Go ahead and go. And the Bible says that Jesus was walking on water, and he was intended to pass them. But he saw that they were in trouble. He's already taught them that they can command the seas and the waves. He's taught them they can cast out demons, they can heal the sick, they have authority over all this. He's already taught them that. But he saw they was in trouble. So then he, stood there. Peter looked out, said, Jesus, if that's you, bid me to come to you. Jesus said, come. And Peter actually stepped out of the boat and was walking on water. See, a lot of people that they forget that Peter actually walked on water too, not just Jesus. Jesus later on says, all these things that you've seen me do, you can do and greater. So, and that was when he's talking about moving the mountain with the mustard seeds and stuff. All these things you can do if you have the faith. But it's not about little faith or big faith. It's about continued faith. See, Peter had enough faith to step on the water, but yet when he fell in, he walked, right? He walked on water. That's a lot of faith. Jesus picked him up, caught him, and he still asked him, ye of little faith. Well, what do you mean? The word little at that point meant short period, which most of us do. We have great faith when we convert, and great faith when we start, but the longer something takes, we lose that faith. And the whole point of it is both times Jesus said, I'll meet you on the other side, or let's go to the other side. And they didn't have faith that when Jesus said it, it was already done. They let the world and the situation determine how they were afraid. And it's not about what's going on in the situation. It's about what Jesus has already said will happen. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, I love listening to it.
Yeah.
I think about it.
I do too. I enjoy it.
I like those moments when
Yeah.
you don't understand and you're just watching and you're like, I don't have power. And then you see the resolve at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Mom, all these steps in my life that had to be taken so that I could fulfill that need at that time for her.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing to me at some of the things that I've seen over the years, the different testimonies and see, the problem is you can't have a testimony unless you have a test. And I think that we go in through these situations because people get moved into our path that need to hear our testimony because of certain situations we've been through, because some people go through different things, right? I won't mention too much, but I'll just say, I've not been raped, but there's people that have been, that's overcome it and went through it, that can help people that's been raped. There's people that have been molested and things that go through that come through it, and you're thinking, how could God allow those things? And it goes to that free will, free choice. We have a choice of how we act in this world and how much we listen to the devil or how much we listen to God. Unfortunately, not everybody listens to God. And God is not in control of the world. This is the misconception. He's only in control of what you allow him to have control over. Because if he interfered, you wouldn't have your free will, and he wouldn't be a just and fair God. So now the devil doesn't play just and fair. He's going to destroy. He's here to destroy, kill, steal. He's
every angle.
Everything. He's going to come to you as an angel of light. This is where your heart, if it's not in God, can be deceived. You feel like you're doing good, right? And by all standards, you're doing good. You're helping somebody. But you don't know, unless God's gave you the discernment, that this is the right person to help. Because the scary thought is the something simple. When you pass a cop, do you flash a light at oncoming traffic? You've seen people flash lights.
I've seen it, but I don't do it.
Yeah, you do it. But what happens if they're doing a traffic stop, and you flash a light for somebody that kidnapped a kid that's getting ready to molest them, and you just save that guy from getting stopped and let the kid get molested.
Well, I mean, that's a very tragic way it could be, or I could have just saved a single mom a lot of money on a ticket that she couldn't afford to pay.
Could, but in today's world anymore,
I mean,
as many children are getting abducted anymore. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? It's the devil has played his game so much to where even the good task seems bad and the bad task seems good, which is what Timothy says is in the later days, good will be called evil and evil will be called good, and men will be righteous in their own resemblance of it. They'll call themselves a semblance of righteousness, and they'll be lovers of self. And this is what you see in a lot of preaching today, is a me-centric preaching instead of a Jesus-centric preaching. You'll see a lot of people talking about, and even the worship songs they sing, I'm the story of David. I fight the battle. I fight the giants, and I do this.
Me,
and I
me,
do
me.
that. Yeah. They put themselves on the cross, and it's not. It's Jesus on the cross. Believe it or not, I'm not David. I don't fight the giants. I let God fight that. That's his battle, not mine.
Biggest thing about it, though, you're going to sin every day.
Mm-hmm.
There's no getting around it. You will do it. It's just what you do about it is what makes you.
And I know some people we'll save that for another one. I don't want to go into it right now because it'd be deep. But
yeah, we went deep.
Yeah, we went longer than what we normally do. We probably lost viewers now.
I haven't.
Oh, we're holding steady.
I got us kicked off
Yeah.
TikTok and everything.
We're already kicked off TikTok, so
We got all kind of time. We'll come up with another show.
yeah.
That's all in all. That's what it is. You're not going to avoid sin. It's going to happen because you're a body of flesh.
Yeah.
Sin against TikTok.
And we're gonna
What?
yeah. I mean that's the thing is we try, and that's the beauty of it though is God's grace is to always pick you up and carry you. And the fact that it bothers you, right, that you sin is enough for God's grace to be sufficient, because that's what he told Paul. My grace is sufficient, because Paul said he had a thorn in his side, right? He begged God to forgive him or help him get rid of this. Whatever it was, he didn't go in detail. He called it the thorn in his flesh. Through something that was in his life he couldn't get rid of, and he begged God, asked God 3 times to get rid of it. And God told him, no, my grace is sufficient. So he left it for Paul to deal with and struggle with to keep Paul humble. And Paul said that. It was to keep me humble. Because there's certain things, if I was sin-free, I'd be ego. Man, I'd be an egotistical little fool. If everything was easy and everything was good, God wouldn't want to have a relationship with me.
Thinking of how ridiculous this statement is when you were talking about the moment that you knew you were called to God, and I'm sitting here saying, I want a moment when it feels like I've not done it.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, everything I do is because
That's
I'm
the way
allowed
it's supposed to
do
be.
it.
Now you're getting it.
You know what I mean?
Everything you're
Like, I've been
supposed to
sitting
do.
here in 10 minutes just thinking, I'm like, that's why ain't Ronnie getting it? That's exactly what I want. I want a moment bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be presuming that
Mm-hmm.
I'm bigger than every moment
Right.
that I've had.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I'm not.
No.
So,
And the things we go through is never about us. Never.
I've had a little bit of enlightenment. Which is a great way to end the show, guys, because I'm very tired.
Right.
It's been a long day.
I'm also getting a little tired.
Yep. Y'all lightweights on your energy drinks. I've got caffeine.
No, I
Ryan, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
I'm a lightweight. Period.
Bringing this
Man,
stuff. Listen,
We still got
call
more
you
to go
come on
through.
The show,
Yeah.
you're like, man, people are gonna get tired of hearing me. I don't think so.
I think they're going to get tired of seeing and hearing me. I think so.
Oh, the conversations are too good.
Brian Wager says, "Thanks, guys. Good show."
Who
He'll
said
get
that?
tired of Jericho first.
Yeah.
But I mean, guys, again, thank you all for watching. Thank you guys for coming. I knew this would be an awesome show. I wish I could have been here at the very beginning of it, but
You should have been here before.
God seen fit for me to be somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to sponsor, please reach out. That'd be greatly appreciated. Any upcoming news?
I spoke to Diamond Dave's wife. He's coming on the show.
Okay, good.
Diamond Dave?
Yeah,
Dave,
Diamond
Kung
Dave.
Fu Ninja will be on the show in September. It is confirmed. We don't know the date yet, but it will be in September.